are we doing today? This is Erica Courtney. So guys, I am so sorry for my appearance. I just woke up, and when I woke up, I decided to check my YouTube channel, see if I had any comments, and I read a comment, and let me tell you about this comment, guys. First of all, how are you guys doing? Welcome to my channel. My name is Erica Courtney. I am a news blogger, and unfortunately, I do have to sleep, or I would miss news that was coming out. But I went to bed so late last night. Actually, I should say early this morning. All right, guys. So I put a story on my site about 2 months ago on my YouTube channel right here, Living with Erica, and it was basically talking about the two children that were found hanging in the basement from the rafters. And the little children's name, Connor Snyder, was 8 years old, and Brinley Connor was 4 years old. They were found unconscious at their home, at home on September 23rd, and flown to a hospital, and they died September 26th. I believe they died minutes apart from each other. Investigators in October said Lisa Snyder described finding them in the basement hanging by a cord, possibly a dog leash from the rafters. So I put a video out basically saying I don't believe that story, and I believe that the mother has something to do with that story, basically from the fact that the blame is being placed on that 8-year-old little boy. And I saw that little boy's picture. I saw Connor's photo, and I shared that photo on that video as well. You can go back and look at that video in my vlogs on this channel here. And I said, I don't think that boy did that. I don't think he did that. And they were saying, oh yeah, some of the video games he's been watching and this and that. And I'm like, I cannot imagine a video game where an 8-year-old would actually go and hang his sister. And I said, he needs to have the ability to be able to do so. What is the height of the ceilings? What type of cord was used? How professional is this kid with actually hanging someone? Because this is not something that the average Joe is just going to be able to do. And the probability of an 8-year-old little kid doing this and actually making that rope or whatever was used tight enough to actually sustain the injuries and tight enough to keep that person hanging, because we're talking about weight. We're talking about weight actually being hung from a rafter. And so there needed to be a certain amount of probability in order for me to say that I believe that that little boy did it. But that's the direction that the mom was taking it. And so when the cops arrived at her house, they took his Xbox and his cell phone or his computer. And I was like, they need to not be investigating this kid. Perhaps we're not hearing the whole story. Investigate this mom or her 17-year-old son who was living at home at the time. And I found it very odd that the mom just so happened to not be there when this transpired, and also questioning, why did mom do this, or why would this happen by this 8-year-old boy, particularly on this day? Well, looking at his photos, he seemed like just a regular happy-go-lucky kid, and I didn't think he did it, and so I expressed that on my video. So, which brings me to the story today. Berks County authorities on Monday, guys, I'm sorry, I have a gigantic laptop here, and I'm just getting up, so I haven't even gotten settled yet, but I want to put this out really quick. Berks County authorities on Monday morning said they have arrested Lisa Snyder of Albany Township and charged her with offenses including 2 counts of first-degree murder and sexual intercourse with an animal. Her children, Connor Snyder, who is 8 years old, and Brinley Connor, 4, were found unconscious at their home on September 23rd and flown to a hospital, as I read before. Investigators in October said Lisa Snyder described finding them in the basement hanging by a cord, as I read earlier. Berks County District Attorney John Adams planned to discuss the arrest at a press conference later on today. Other charges filed against Snyder on Monday include tampering with or fabricating evidence, endangering the welfare of children, and cruelty to animals, according to court records. In the weeks following the deaths of those children, the state police obtained multiple search warrants and seized things including 3 cell phones, electronics, and the cord from which the children were found hanging. They had also looked for a dog, saying the weight of the dog would help in the investigation, but they provided no further details. let me see something here. Like I said, a lot of times when I do my stories, I do them and then I just move on because I have so many other blogs that I need to do. But this one caught my attention because I did not like the idea of them trying to pin this on that little boy. I don't think that boy should die in vain, and I don't think that he needs to die with that type of stain on his name. And I think for a mother to do something like that, I mean, even if you felt like it was your child that do it, the average mother doesn't want their child to die with these horrible perceptions of him in the media. They don't want their child to be looked at like that. So, although in the event that they may actually be fully aware that their kid committed that crime, the average mother, especially for an 8-year-old, we're not talking about, Norman Bates or John Gacy or, guys like that. We're talking about an 8-year-old little boy who's just gone to school and come home. That's pretty much all he's done. He's played with his friends. He's gone to school. He's come home. He's doing his homework. And if you find out your kid is doing something like that, you want to protect that kid the best you can and get that kid some help. And if mom felt like he was doing such horrible things from watching video games, she would have saw that. And I mentioned that earlier. A child doesn't typically just watch video games and then just turn around and go and kill someone. That's not how that goes. Usually they start bullying. Usually the child will start harassing their siblings. If he had a little sibling, and he have a younger sister, he would have been harassing her. He would have been doing things toward his mom. He would have been bullying other children in his school. He would have been doing these things. Let me see if this story is related. They say it is. Give me 1 second. Let me read this because I haven't read this yet. And I also mentioned about the children's family receiving services from the Department of Children and Youth Services, according to a child advocate. Once again, they have been dealing with DCF, Department of Children and Families, Department of Children Youth Services. And once again, like I said, they don't usually go out to your home unless there's some type of negligence, some type of abuse, or some type of accusation. And if they go to your home and they find out that what they were there for was unfounded, they'll pretty much just make a note of that and they'll close the case. But they're not going to reveal it usually on what it is, but they will say we've been there. And from what I understand, they had been there recently, so this is not something, and that there was an ongoing case. So this wasn't something that the family was accused of, 6 months ago, and the case was closed. This was something that was presently going on at that time. And I said that's why I believe something bad happened to those children. Let's see what else here. Okay, I don't see anything, and I don't know if you guys remember this story. Mom also got rid of the dog. She claims that she gave this dog away, but that dog was actually supposed to be used as evidence, and I was questioning her motivation for that, saying, why would a mother give away something, or anyone for that matter, give away evidence that the police has clearly told you they need to help determine what happened to your kids? And if you're saying, oh, I don't know what happened, getting that evidence right there for you and having that in your face, you're supposed to make that evidence available to the police. You're not supposed to cover. And that made me even more suspicious of the mom because she was covering information. She was hiding stuff. And that is not that's not the work of an innocent parent. That's not the work of that. That parents don't do stuff like that. So, let me see. All right. So details from the mother's 911 call. Lisa Snyder told a dispatcher that her 8-year-old son was bullied and had made threats of doing this, but didn't want to go alone. The mother of the children said this week, at this point, I am not ready to make any public comments. After her children died on September 26, she changed her Facebook profile with a photo and the saying, words, scars, rumor, destroy, bullies, kill. The children's death were still under investigation during this story here, and no charges had been filed. So yeah, I mean, the idea of this mom putting this on this little boy, no, that left a bad taste in my mouth, and it probably left a bad taste in your mouth as well. So I am happy to hear of this news, guys. What about the animal cruelty? And what, guys, wait, sexual intercourse with the animal? People. I've been doing this for a very long time. I say that I sound like a broken record, but it is true. Guys, we don't know what those children were dealing with. And I said it again, I was very frustrated with this story because the neighbors weren't talking. They tried to interview the neighbors to ask the neighbors, what's happening? Did you see anything? And basically nobody is talking. Nobody was telling these officers, these detectives, anything, and that really pissed me off because I'm of the notion, I subscribe to the notion that if you see something, you should say something. If you see child abuse, if you see neglect going on in your community and it's happening, and if the kid, and you see that kid and you know something is possibly happening, you have a duty to say something. You have a duty to say something. And I find it disgusting that these neighbors just had that attitude of, I don't want to say anything, and just closing their doors in the officer's face. Who does that? Who does that? And I mean, I understand, you don't want to snitch and stuff like that. But we're talking about an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old found hanging in a basement. If you know anything about that mother or father or teenager or whoever was inside of that home, if you know anything about that, why would you not want to help? Why would you not want to help? Why would you not want to say anything? And once again, I don't get paid for this. This is something I do out of my heart, out of compassion, out of a willingness to see change, to see I like when I do this, and I like it when people come back and they communicate and they talk to me and they tell me, Erica, what you said 2 months ago, guess what? Bam, that happened. What you said 6 months ago, that happened. What you said a year ago, that happened. 2 years ago, 5 years ago, and a story that you wrote, blah, blah, blah. Guys, I love that. I love it because it means that we're all communicating, we're all talking about it, we're all making an awareness, and we care. And as long as parents like this, and that's a loose term for this woman, Lisa Snyder. That's a loose term, calling her a parent. People like this that have children, if they continue to do what they do, and they continue to get away with it, and we continue to be silent and we don't expose them, they're going to continuously do what they do. And it takes people to come together to say, something doesn't smell right about that. I don't like the way that sounds. And that's what I do, and that's what I've been doing for years. And it's disappointing when you see the outcome that the child is no longer with us. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and there's a silver lining when you see that the parent who did this, the person responsible, the people responsible are finally going to be brought to justice. And so I am happy to bring that news that 2 months later, this woman is being charged. Yeah, 2 months later, this woman is being charged. And I am grateful for that. I am happy that that the truth has come out. And if you got any insight, any comments you want to leave, by all means, guys, that's why I do this. I want the comments. I want the conversation. I want the dialogue. I want the communication back and forth. I want it. I need it. This channel needs it. It needs that. So by all means, leave comments in the comment section. Once again, thanks for tuning into my channel. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a like. Give me a share. Give me your subscription. Subscribe to my channel, guys. And stay tuned for the next video. All right, guys. So peace out and see you later.